Hey, I'm back. This is Chandler for Melda Production, and today I'm going to show you how you can use rhythmic delays in MSoundfactory. So about 2 years ago, I made a video about using rhythmic delays with MDelayMB, but this time I'm going to show you how you can use that in MSoundfactory and some of the advantages you might actually have versus using it in the standard plugin or even using it in the FX section. Today we're going to use it in the generator section. But first, let's get things set up. So first I have a supersaw sound. Not too exciting, but let's actually change that to a Pluck sound. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a filter basic. I'm going to use this just because it uses a little bit less CPU. And I'm going to take the frequency, take it -1, so -1 octaves. Now I'm going to use attack 1 and just attach it to here. And so for those that don't know, attack 1 is just uses the attack section of an ADSR, or I guess it's attack or decay section, but it just uses one section of it. And it's good for when you want to use like percussive things like plucks or something. So I open this up, look inside. Let's just adjust this curve for a second. Move it down a little bit. Let's move the time up. Not too high though. And about 370 something. And move this up here to around 3 octaves, 3 and 4 octaves. Let's listen to it. That's good. It has a little bit too much resonance. We can bring that down a bit. So that's great, but one thing you'll notice is if I just hold the note, it's still playing. I want it to completely cut off. So what I'm going to do is just look here in the oscillator, and I'm going to go to attack 2. Turn that on, add attack 2 to that. Make sure this is all the way down. And then I'm going to bring this up to -12 or around that where it was before. Now, what I'm going to do is just bring this down. Actually, maybe I'll move this up the opposite way and make sure the time is just longer than the attack 1. So let's make it like 4 or something. And that way, when it gets to the end, it'll go all the way down to 0, like this. Okay, nice and clean. So you're thinking, okay, why'd you do that instead of just using the global? But you'll actually see, I'll show you in a little bit why you don't want to do that. So we have our basic pluck sound. Now we can go into the FX, and let's say I wanted to make a rhythmic delay. So I have my delay here. I'll turn on sync like this. I have eighth notes. Let's make this ping pong. I can move this back and forth like this. And when I play it, that's cool. There's no problem with that. And if I want to add more, let's do something a little bit more interesting. Let's make this triplets. Set this to ping pong and just move this to the other side. Now let's play this. Now that's interesting, but there's one big problem. Imagine if I played down the keyboard. I'll let you hear this and listen to what happens. You see how the delays kind of overlap the new notes and it sounds like a huge mess? So it's okay sometimes if I'm just playing like one chord for a whole bar. But let's say if I do something more like rhythmically active, like this. You see how they're overlapping and it doesn't sound so good. And if I play single notes, it sounds even worse. So the faster I play, it just sounds like a mess. But there's a way to get rid of that, and I'll show you how. So we're going to get rid of this. We don't want to use this in the FX section. Just copy this, and then we can just turn it off. Now we're going to go in the generator. I'm going to use the exact same effect, the delay, and now I'll just paste it. I have the exact same thing. So. I think you probably heard it there. It cuts off almost immediately. So as soon as my finger leaves the key, it cuts off. So I'll play down the scale again, just like I did before, and listen to it this time. You get rid of that mess, and you're thinking, why does that happen? And that's because everything in the globals is controlled by this global ADSR, the global envelope. So as soon as I release my finger, it goes into the release stage, and everything's cut off, including the delay. But if I increase the release, you get a little bit of a fade out like this. So you can hear it by doing that. You can control how much you want by increasing or decreasing the release. So whatever sounds natural to you. And so another thing is, it's cool if I have one, but let's say if I wanted a second one. So let's say I'm going to add another delay here, and we're going to make this even more interesting. So I'll set this to input 1. Okay, everything's good, and I'll just paste that again. And I'll do the exact same thing, but this time, instead of eighth notes, let's do quarter notes. So now let's hear it. So now I have all these delays, but it's not really getting messy. And of course, by changing the count and the different rhythmic values, I can create all sorts of interesting patterns. And I don't have to worry about the patterns overlapping or sounding terrible. And then, of course, I can do things like for each of these, since they're in different lanes, I could go into the effects section and I could even add something in here. So if I wanted this one to have, let's say, what would I want on there? Let's say convolution reverb. So let's say if I want a big plate on there like this. So I can do that and add a bunch of different effects to each one. So that's another cool thing you can do. And also, I'm using this with the delay, but the same thing applies to reverb. So now you have this new charm reverb in here. And so if I turn this up, you'll see the exact same thing happening. As soon as I lift my finger, it cuts off. So it's almost like a gated reverb. So I can control the length of this reverb decay. So that's a really cool effect you can use, and it's not possible in the effects section or with an external effect, unless you do a bunch of automation or gates and other things. But this way, it's really easy and fast. So you can use that with reverb, but I prefer to use it with delay. I think it's really useful, and you can come up with all sorts of interesting rhythmic combinations. I'm actually planning on making a device that uses this, so if you're interested in that, let me know, and I'll make something interesting, hopefully. But if you like this, give me a thumbs up. Leave me some comments down below or any questions if you have those, and check out all the other plugins at meltdownproduction.com. Until next time, see you.